Well, hello and welcome to probably the zero people that will actually end up watching this, but I am back with Isaac and Deck, and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has got a win for United somehow, so he might avoid the sack for a little bit longer, but at some point soon in the near future, he is probably going to be replaced, and that is mostly what we're going to be talking about today. So who do we back to replace him? So there's a few names floating about. Obviously, Antonio Conte is one of those. Mauricio Pochettino is another one that's been linked with the United job for a long time. Eric Ten Hag, Graham Potter, all these other managers. So without any further ado, let's get into it. Who are you boys backing for replacing Ole?
Go on, Isaac, you go first.
I was hoping you wouldn't say that. It's difficult. I don't really dislike any of the options that have been mentioned. I'm not overly keen on Rodgers, I gotta say. I think he's a good manager. I'm not sure he's really good enough to elevate us to the level we want to be at. I think that there are huge worries that I'd have about Conte surrounding the future of certain young players, Sancho, Greenwood, and to a lesser extent Rashford. That I think their futures would go up in the air a bit if we got Conte, but at the same time, of all the names mentioned, he's probably the one that I would back the most to get us a trophy within the next 2 years. I mean, he's probably the best manager in some respects of all the names mentioned. Poch I really like, Ten Hag I really like, and Potter I really like. So
I mean, with Conte,
any of those really.
The criticisms leveled at Conte, obviously, like doesn't use the youth that well, and also leaves the club in a mess. But when he leaves the club in a mess, it's never a sort of Mourinho mess. It's a little bit of a mess in the first team squad, but it's not like the whole place is broken from the bottom up.
To be fair, how much of a mess did he really leave Chelsea in? It was Sarri who took over after Conte, right?
Yeah,
he did pretty well there. It wasn't like Sarri did a bad job. I think it was a third place finish.
Yeah, so I guess it's just the more that sort of obviously. I think when it gets to the end with Conte and managers that are as sort of emotionally charged as that all the players have done just do not want to play for him. They just properly give up, which is not.
With Inter, the fallout was more to do with. I don't think it was. Yeah, it wasn't the players. It was the board.
Inter was different. They had no money at all.
All of their good players.
Yeah,
and Conte didn't like that very much. So, yeah, my main concern with Conte would be the youth more than any fallout with the board. I mean, in some respects, I almost want to see a manager fall out with our board at this point because they really need to kick up the arse. So, but the main concern is the youth. I'll let Deck take over now. With his preferred options.
Well, thank you very much. My preferred option is the hipster option. I'm going to go for Mr. Graham Potter. Now, we love Ole as the man manager that everyone talks about, and the way he handles himself in the media, the way he speaks about the club, the way he's soft-spoken. He's not really aggressive. We imagine him, he is like that behind closed doors. But you get all that in Graham Potter, in my opinion. He's a great man manager, but he's one of the best coaches that England have got right now. He's an amazing coach. If you look at
England, I'd say the best that England have got right now in terms of English
coaches. In terms of coaching, like pure coaching, obviously I don't know behind the scenes. There might be someone amazing, but in terms of in the limelight, for me, I think he's a spectacular coach. If you look what he's done at Brighton, I mean, even if you look what he did before Brighton, he went to a fourth-tier Swedish side and took them to the title in the top division in 4 years and got them in the Champions League. And they beat someone. I think they were a biggish side, not huge, not like a Liverpool, but maybe someone like an Atletico Madrid, something like that. I don't know who they beat. I don't know. Maybe it was Arsenal. It might have been Arsenal, but it was someone anyway. And he beat them, and then he went to Swansea. He got them promoted. And he kind of fell out. I can't remember why he ended up leaving, but then he went to Brighton, and a Brighton side that really, even now, is not filled with much quality whatsoever. I mean, yesterday, he got a 2-2 draw with Liverpool. Played Liverpool off the park and playing Trossard up front. It wasn't. It really. When he plays left wing back for Belgium, by the way, Trossard, and he's playing up front for Brighton. I think he's just an unbelievable coach. He can play three at the back. We had Dan Burn, Duffy, and what's the other?
Did Basuma play yesterday?
I think he did, you know.
Oh, he's back from his short
Let
loan
me have
spell
a
at Prison FC.
let me just have a quick look if he did play yesterday. I'm pretty sure he did. Don't know why I'm sure he did though.
Probably because he watched the game and he was on the pitch.
I didn't watch the game.
You can't admit that now. Telling us they played them off the park and the crossbar up front, all this stuff about the game.
Well, I didn't watch it live, is what I meant. Like, Basuma was playing yet. He went off at 60 minutes.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But I watched a lot of the highlights. And obviously, I get terrorised enough for it because from where I'm from and where I sound, most of my mates are Liverpool fans. And they were telling me, how well they played also. But this is not a one-off with Graham Potter. This happens week in, week out. I think it was something like last year, if Brighton had took all of the chances that they should have done for XG-wise, they'd have been fourth place.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, but that just teaches you a lesson. You can't have strikers like that in the Premier League. Their strikers last year were horrendous.
Well, that's why he's playing Trossard up front. You know what I mean? I just think, like, I look at this squad now. Let me just bring up the squad that he played with yesterday against Liverpool. I think he was playing a back four, which is he's decided to drop Duffy, I think, and he's gone for like a back four instead of the back three. So yeah, Duffy was playing. He's dropped Dan Burn, so he's even got Lallana playing well.
Dan Burn got injured.
Did he?
Yeah, he wasn't on the bench either. So.
Oh no, yeah, he was injured there. But anyway, he went to a back four as well. My point was is that he's tactically versatile. He's really good at bleeding youth as well. Like if you look at the likes of Lamptey, for example, if you look at the likes of Cucurella, now I know he's not been brought there, but he's a young left back that he's been taking a chance on. He's not someone that was probably an in the box pick to come and play for Brighton. Someone from, I think, is it Getafe? Is that where he came from?
Yeah, it was, yeah.
Cucurella. I don't know how old that Mwepu is as well, but I think he's only he's not super young.
He's all right, yeah.
And they come straight through. And here's another one, actually, and I really like this guy. I just want to see how old he is before I make myself look like an idiot. Yeah, he is young. I thought he was. That is Jakob Moder, but it's got the two O's, the two. It's not the young lad, so it's Murder. I really, really like him, and what I really like what Potter does with him is that he's normally like a second striker. That's where he used to play when he was playing for Lech Poznan, and now he's playing basically almost like a CDM, an 8. So I think that he can get, and basically this is all going to come to the point I want to make is that Sancho can play in a split striker system. But anyway, I'll move on now and say, Cam, who do you want for Manchester United to be replaced? Let me say that again. Who do you want Manchester United to replace Ole Gunnar Solskjaer with?
I think Erik ten Hag for me. I think obviously Graham Potter. I think it sounds bad, but on a commercial level, I think there's no way Manchester United are ever going to get Graham Potter, just because. It's not good, but you can't put Graham Potter's face on a billboard outside Old Trafford. I just don't see that happening.
He did it with Rooney. I mean,
yeah, but at the same time, it's different for players. I feel. I think when players have got cult status like Rooney had, it's different. But I think someone like Graham Potter, I just can't see that. I can't see him until
what if he's the best in the world?
I think even if he's had spells at other big clubs, United wouldn't appoint him. I just don't think he's the sort of.
I don't necessarily agree with that. We hired David Moyes, who I no disrespect to Moyes as a manager, he's a great manager. I think he's a great manager for a certain level of team, but he doesn't fit the commercial powerhouse bill that you're talking about, I guess.
No, that's true, but I think since then, with the likes of Mourinho, Van Gaal, they've always been big characters, box office. The sort of player, the sort of person that you would stick up on that. Obviously, Ole's a little bit away from that, but he is still a club legend, so he's got a lot of sway with fans and stuff. So I don't know. I just can't see Potter going for it. I think someone like Ten Hag is a little bit like Potter in a lot of ways in sort of his philosophies, his principles, but because he's European, he's a little bit more that there's a little bit more unknown about him. I think for most fans, which gives him a little bit more. It's a bit more of a fashionable choice, possibly. And I think, obviously, coming from a team like Ajax, where the academy set up so well, that's my next. So those are my real questions with Potter. Like, both Potter and Ten Hag actually. They both manage players and teams in a certain way. Can they handle the big egos that you'd have at United? Can they handle players who may not be best suited to play the way they want to play? Can they adapt? And looking at Ten Hag, especially like the academy at Ajax, right the way through from under 10s, they'll be taught to play a certain way. Single thing about that club, every player that comes through has to be able to play that way. So in a sense, it's like fairly easy for a first team manager to just say, keep doing what you've done your entire career. So I'm a bit like, well, can he really go and implement that at a different club that don't have that same foundations? So that's my question mark with him. But I think obviously the way his teams play is fantastic. That Champions League run was insane. And to be fair to him, the players have all gone outside of Ajax, and I don't think there's one of them now that looks good or anywhere near the level they were at in that Ajax
Frankie
team.
de Jong.
Frankie de Jong.
Frankie de Jong. Yeah, that's fair. But outside of Frankie de Jong, I don't think there are any.
No.
Van de Beek can't get a game.
No.
De
Ligt looks awful.
De Ligt's the Dutch Phil Jones, according to Juventus fans. None of the other players that were in that team really looked too good.
I know he still technically plays for them, but didn't that? What's his name? Andre Onana. He got done, didn't he, for drug taking?
He got done for something. Yeah.
It kind of all fell apart for Ajax, and yet have you seen their league? I don't know if it's the same, but this was a couple of weeks ago. I had a look, and they only conceded 2 goals all season in the league.
Yeah, they're doing so well this season, so well.
They have, as Cam mentioned, they've got a sort of youth conveyor belt that kind of means that they can afford for the first team to sort of.
What's
not so
that
much
guy's name this season? Is it Berghuis or something like that?
Yeah, gone from PSV to Ajax.
Yeah, and he's one of their best players now.
Yeah, well, he was obviously they're probably the biggest rivals in Dutch football, 2 of the biggest rivals, and he's gone. As PSV captain, he's gone and joined Ajax.
They've played 11 games. Ajax. They scored 37 goals, and they conceded 2.
That's just madness.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
That is just incredible this season. It's not bad going.
I'm just going to have a look. So they won 5-0 in one of the last games that they played. The very last game they played was 0-0. No, was it against PSV?
PSV was 5-0.
Yeah, it was.
We scored in that as well. I bet he's very popular in Eindhoven right now.
What's ridiculous, if we're talking goals conceded and stuff, Chelsea this season have only conceded 3.
None of them from open play, but what I will say is that that's not sustainable. At some point, Edouard Mendy is not going to keep saving these shots.
Yeah, so their XG against was 10.5, and they've only conceded 3. They've
got 6.8 or something from open play and conceded none.
For me, they're not going to win the league. They're not winning the league, though. Yeah, they're not going to win the league.
I agree. I think I unfortunately back Liverpool.
No, they're not going to win it either. I think City are going to win it.
Liverpool are in trouble. AFCON is going to screw them up big time.
But then I feel like
when Salah and Mane have to go for a month.
Well, Salah's going to be a huge miss. I feel like Jota's good enough that you can get around not having Mane.
Jota's good enough to come in for one of them, but if they've lost both, and they will,
that is a big.
They don't have that depth.
It's a big miss. Maybe if United get a move on and hire Conte, we could still make a charge.
I mean, City obviously lost yesterday, which was massive.
Yeah. But I still think
early red card.
You think?
I think maybe we're going to do it under Ole.
Oh no, it's not happening. I'm sorry, it's not happening.
I'm just looking at this, and I just love the players that Ten Hag uses. Obviously, I chose Potter, but I'd also take Ten Hag. If the choice came, I wouldn't care. Out of the 2 we got, but he's got Haller scoring goals. Sebastian Haller.
Yeah.
Dusan Tadic. Now I liked him at the Saints, Southampton. He's just a top player. They've got players when I thought that they were going to lose Ziyech, and I thought, oh my god, right, they've lost Ziyech now. What's going to happen? Well, you go and get Anthony. Well, not go and get him, but wasn't he in their youth setup? And then they've got Ryan Gravenberch coming through, or Gravenberch.
Oh, Gravenberch is class.
He's great. Labyad, they've still got David Neres. We've got some great young players, and it's just the only problem I've got with Ten Hag is, I don't know if he really wants it. I think you've got to really want it.
I think for him, he might feel that he's got a couple of levels to go up and prove himself at before he takes over a job like United. I think the ideal job for him is Barca. I don't know why they've. I think actually
that would ruffle a lot of Barca fans' feathers right now.
Do you reckon?
That's the step up. I mean, I agree. I mean, I think it would be the ideal job, and
but I think the only reason they haven't,
I think
just
Barca
money.
are a step down right now.
For me, though,
they're so buggered financially, but
I think Xavi is. I think Xavi, if he's good, I think he needs to be given it now because I don't see him going anywhere else and being a manager anywhere else. Really, I know he was doing it in Dubai or Saudi Arabia
Qatar.
or Qatar, wherever it was, and they were playing great football. I mean, they were playing really nice football. But where else could you see him go and manage? You couldn't imagine him coming to the Premier League, could you? No, I couldn't imagine him to. And I think Ten Hag would be wasted, and I think he would be corrupted by Barcelona. I really do. I think he might have been playing well, but I think they'd ruin him.
How? I mean, they've got the academy set up perfectly for that first team path. They have one philosophy right the way through the club, which isn't far away from his own philosophy. So I think it'd be ruined.
Didn't they absolutely break they broke Koeman. He was like in pieces when he left. Who was the one before?
Koeman and
Who was the guy before Koeman?
Was it Enrique?
Didn't he won a Champions League?
No, it wasn't Enrique. Was it Valverde? Ernesto Valverde.
Yeah.
They broke him. They broke him, and I swear they disrespected Enrique as well when he left, and he had won a Champions League for them. I'd also like Enrique at United, by the way.
Yeah, great manager.
But yeah, I just think I'd rather him go to somewhere. I really like him as an Ajax manager, and I think he doesn't need a step up. It's a massive club. It's the biggest club in his country. Do you know, like in terms of club size, it's like there's Barcelona and there's Ajax. You know what I mean? It's not like like Brighton and United, for example.
Yeah, but in terms of characters, though, like at Ajax, they're trained to be that sort of as much as they're trained in terms of being players as characters. There's no real massive characters like the likes of Ronaldo, Cavani. There's no one like that. Pogba. That people that are actually tough to manage. You don't really get that experience. And sometimes if you haven't got that and you get things wrong, you give players a little bit too much freedom, you're gone. Before you know it, they're not doing what you ask and you're in trouble.
I just don't know. I'd want him to go in with a little bit of a better squad. I don't think it's fair on him to go to Barcelona now when they're in such a bad crisis.
I almost do agree. I almost do see Cam's point though, in that Barca almost seems sort of tailor-made to be the next step up for Ten Hag, the youth conveyor.
Philosophy-wise, the way they play,
the fact that you wouldn't have Barca got any egos at this point? Is Griezmann and Aguero possibly?
Griezmann's gone. He's on loan.
Oh, he's gone. Yeah, so Aguero is probably.
Aguero is the only one really that causes much.
I don't
think of him as. I don't think of him as I don't think of him as quite. It's not. I don't mean ego in a derogatory way, but he's not quite a character in the same way that you'd say Ronaldo or Pogba are.
No.
Or Neymar.
I mean, I suppose the closest you get is probably the likes of PK.
Yeah,
maybe
PK
as well.
PK's a good shout. Forgot about PK.
What I would say is that Ajax, Barcelona, and United are all similar in the way that fans think the club are. I mean, we've always had like youth between the three clubs. I mean, we've had it's since like 1930 something. We've had
it's like 89 years or something. A youth player in every single match day squad.
Yeah, and that's great. That's crazy. But for me, again, it's the same thing with Barcelona. For me, if I was Ten Hag, I would say Ajax. I mean, why would you want to go anywhere yet? You're still really young.
I mean, he's not going to leave mid-season. There's no chance because they're doing so well in the league this year.
I do see your point, actually. I do think that staying at Ajax rather than going to Barca or United might be the sensible bet for Ten Hag.
Right now,
because he knows that nothing he does is ever going to eclipse that Champions League run. That's the highest he can get at Ajax. I mean, that's the best he can get.
If he takes another, as Deck says, Barca is right now. It's probably at one of the lowest points they've been at in decades, let's say.
Yeah, but it's a perfect chance for them to build it back up.
But I mean, I guess you could leave it until another manager has been there and maybe done the Ole job, rescuing them from the Koeman turmoil. Because it sounds like the big problem with Koeman was just that so many players didn't like him. He was a really divisive, fractious character, and maybe if nothing else, Xavi coming in would do that much. Just I don't know.
I mean, yeah, look, he could
do
try, but
which is reinstall a good feel to the club.
yeah, but the thing is for Ten Hag, if someone does the Ole job, Ten Hag isn't the guy you then call up to finish it off. He's not a proven trophy winner. So if he doesn't take the chance now, he may not get it again.
Proven everyone every season. You know what I mean? Or
yeah, but like he's not one. He's not sort of churning out Champions Leagues and big five leagues.
I feel like at some point, yeah, I feel like I agree with Deck there. At some point, managers have to be given a chance at these clubs to become one. Otherwise, you just get the merry-go-round of Mourinho, Conte. I mean, Klopp and Guardiola. Guardiola especially will probably soon leave City. Who knows where he's going to go? I feel like at some point you have to.
Where does he go? Yeah,
take a chance on them. PSG did it with Poch.
Do you reckon Pep?
That's
do you reckon
name
Pep would ever come to United?
No, probably not. Not at this point. I don't think we've got a run enough for him to take.
He's weird enough to, though, isn't he? He's weird enough to do it.
He is weird enough to do it, but I don't think I don't think we have the infrastructure for him to think. Yeah, I'd want to go there. I don't think we're sensible enough for him to.
Yeah, because one of the big things with City was that before they got Pep, they got the senior leadership team from Barca. Just took all of them straight away.
I view that the Pep appointment to City is like what I'd try and transition a Ten Hag into, where you go and win something with the likes of Pellegrini and Mancini, and you get the ship really stable. Because you could argue, couldn't you?
Okay, never mind, stable ship. Conte can maybe not Conte then.
But you could argue, couldn't you, that like the City that Mancini took over was probably about as good squad-wise, probably a little bit, probably not as good to be honest, but as good as what Barcelona have now. And then you've got two managers that come in and implement their style of play, get the players in there, create an ethos, and then Pep comes in. Now you are talking about the best coach ever, but that's what I'd do with Ten Hag and Barcelona if I was Barcelona head chief. Like,
yeah, I sort of see your point. Yeah. I sort of agree. I probably lean more towards Deck in that regard, because I don't know. It just feels like Barca at this point is a huge risk because of how bad morale seems to be. I'd sort of want, if I were a manager taking over there, I'd sort of want an Ole type figure. The guy that lifts the field, lifts the team enough for it to be. I mean,
that's what Xavi is, basically.
Even now, to give Ole his dues, as bad as we've been, the players still don't seem to have turned on him largely. I mean, Bailly and Van der Beek, that's to be expected. It seems like he's still got the dressing room mainly on side, despite everything reports were saying.
Do you actually think he has?
I don't. I think so. I think that the problem with Ole is just going to be that he just isn't a good enough manager to take us to that level.
I think
at some point that will be too much. The board will have to get rid. I can genuinely see us not finishing in the top 4 this season if Spurs.
Do the board care though? As long as I think top 4 is the bottom line. I don't think they care. If we don't finish in the top 4, then they might make a change. But otherwise, I don't think they care enough.
I think with Mourinho, a lot of them didn't like him fundamentally. They knew he was a good coach, and they knew that we won stuff under him. But fundamentally, as humans, likes of Pogba, whatever, didn't like Mourinho. I think everyone in the dressing room likes Ole as a manager and respects him as a player and a man. But they don't think, maybe some of them don't think that he is good enough to lead them.
Yeah, I think it's probably quite a lot of them that think that.
I'd agree.
But what I found now that's telling, I think Ronaldo backs him. And I also think Cavani backs him. That moment they had yesterday at the end of the game, for me, was a little bit like I can't describe what it was, but it was more than just like a manager saying thank you for playing well today. You know what I mean? Where they were like doing that with each other on the heads and that, putting it and saying thank you. You know what I mean? It was just a bit. I don't know.
Do you think Ronaldo backs him because of because he actually trusts him, or because Fergie's behind him.
Well, I
I
also
was
think
about
that
to say
Ronaldo knows
I
who
think
he
the
is as
Fergie
well.
connection. I think the Fergie connection is pretty influential with Ronaldo. I kind of feel like
Definitely.
if Ferguson was to back a man, then it would probably be pretty hard for Ronaldo to then say no, I don't
Yeah.
back him.
Yeah.
But also, Ronaldo knows who Ole is. Don't forget, like,
Yeah,
Ole was
they
a
were
coach
friends.
there while he was there, and they also played with each other.
Yeah,
He knows who he is. He knows what he's about. I think
You
it
don't
was.
think there's a bit of an issue because they were in the same team, so like they're basically on the same level. So it might be hard for Ronaldo to be like, you know what, I really respect him because we played together.
Well, yeah. Don't forget, like, no one's bigger than the club, but I do think that Ronaldo is bigger than Solskjaer. Is Ronaldo a good coach? You know, maybe not. Maybe he isn't. Maybe he has that thing with like Thierry Henry has, where Thierry Henry's on a training ground scoring 40-yard screamers and going, "Why can't he do that in the MLS?" Well,
Yeah.
because no one's as good as you, Thierry. But you want to coach them to be good.
Yeah.
And he couldn't see. And maybe Ronaldo's like that. Like another thing which I said in the chat to you guys yesterday, because we have a group chat. I forget this is live. I just thought we were talking then. like I said to you yesterday, I worry that Ronaldo is like impacting Mason Greenwood's future by saying that, you know, he doesn't really like playing with him and stuff like that. And all of a sudden,
Do you think he's actually come out and said that?
I don't think so. I think that's bullshit. I think it's mainly just honestly.
It's such a weird thing to make up.
Media.
Do you not think?
No, I don't think it is. I think it's the media saying that they don't really work together, and
I think that is true.
That
They don't seem to work together.
They don't work together, but I think that's partially because, okay, not entirely, but there's similarities that the two have, and which make it hard to fit them together. Like Ronaldo, okay, is just a non-entity in the press. Like he doesn't press at all.
Yeah.
And Greenwood currently hasn't been coached, in fairness, by any manager who is particularly renowned for being a good coach.
I mean, yeah, Greenwood's still caught in two
He's
minds,
not a
isn't he?
good
He still
presser
wants
either.
to be a striker, but he just gets stuck out on the wing because we've got players in the middle already. He's
To be
in a
honest,
massive problem.
the
He was
problem
so good. Like, what was it, like 3-3 or 3-4 at the start of the season when he played through the middle? Then Ronaldo comes in and suddenly he can't now. He's massive. He's in trouble because he's still got a striker's mentality. Shoot first at all costs. Try and get yourself on the score sheet. Retain the ball rather than look to create things. Don't really take players on too much. Just keep the ball and someone else will do it. And it doesn't work for us on the wing.
I told you last year, sorry, and hello to Liam Grogan, that I was okay with Greenwood playing far less if when he is played down the middle. Yeah. Now, if that's a two-striker system, whatever. But going back to your point, Cal, I think that Greenwood can definitely play in a two-striker system and press. He's rapid. He's young. He loves being on the ball. So why won't he go and press? He's not lazy.
No, he's not lazy. But I think with a lot of our attackers, it looks like to me that Ole's just been them an inch. In terms of saying that we want to counter-attack, you guys need to be high up the pitch to start with, and now they're taking it too far. They're not tracking back. They're not covering their runners. Every other big team, those players have to track back and work. But under Ole, for some reason, because we're trying to do that counter-attack or whatever it is, they don't.
Apologies. One thing I would say is also I just don't think Ole is particularly good at coaching pressing. Like I just, people say Greenwood can't press. He's never played under a manager that is renowned for coaching pressing. I'm not convinced if you put Greenwood in City's team, he just wouldn't press. Ronaldo, different story. He's never been a high volume presser anywhere.
Yeah.
You put him in any team and he's not a high volume presser. But Greenwood, you've only seen him under Solskjaer. Same thing with Rashford. I mean, Rashford, well, to a lesser extent actually, because you've had him under Van Gaal. Mourinho, again, not renowned for being a massively intense pressing coach in comparison to some.
But this is what we needed. We needed someone like, Klopp's assistant Buvac that left last year or so. That's the person we needed. We needed to get him in. Apparently, he's one of the best coaches of the press in the world. We need to get someone like him in. He's got a bit more experience, and that's what the coaching team is missing at the moment. We just don't have anyone like that.
It's interesting you say this, is because it's funny that Bruno came from a real pressing side in Sporting Lisbon, and he's the only one or used to be the only one that would press, and that would cause us a lot of problems. But he individually pressed, so I think he just always does it. Also, by the way, another thing that I was going to say if we didn't play it yesterday, but I always wanted us to go into a back three since that Liverpool game. I wanted us to do it before the Liverpool game, to be honest. But I really wanted us to try. I know he wasn't playing deeper, but I wanted to try Bruno in a position where he had to be a little bit more disciplined.
Yeah.
And I was yesterday. I didn't think he was going crazy. I thought, yeah, okay, his passes sometimes a little bit. But all in all, he was involved in 2 goals. He made a great tackle on our box, to get the ball away. I just thought that I think he could have been a key. I think he could have been a key to playing Pogba and Bruno together. As if Bruno just kept. If I went and spoke to Bruno, I said, "Listen, Bruno, you're a great passer of the ball. You've got a great engine. You play number 8 for Portugal and take a backseat role for the club. Why don't we just bring you back a little bit, put Pogba forward, and play with whoever at the back as well."
I think the thing is, so to what Liam said here, there's no point getting Conte to play basically the way we played yesterday with no wingers. I think if Conte comes in, there's no way he may well play that same formation, yeah. I can't see him going with 3 centre backs, wing backs, and then McFred. Pogba was so good under Conte at Juventus. There's no way he's leaving Pogba out of the team. So whether it's Bruno that gets dropped or whether it's one of McFred, I think it'd be Matic and Pogba that played in the midfield.
There's also the fact that Conte has played 4. I mean, not as successfully as he's done 3 the back. He has played 4-3-3 before. I think the team he won the league with Juventus with was a 4-3-3.
It was.
Yeah.
So it's not like he's only able to play one system. And I mean, the problem I have with ascribing just one system to Conte. He is incredibly tactically astute. Of all the names mentioned, whatever criticisms you might have of Conte, he's the most tactically astute of any of them, probably.
Yeah,
and
that's the thing. That's the big
tactically astute manager, and I think that he would. I think he'd surprise people in his ability to find ways to fit players in. I mean, for crying out loud, he won the league with Victor Moses at right wing back. I don't think anyone could really have seen that one coming.
Yeah. I think the thing with Conte though is that, as you say, like tactically astute, but I think all the managers we've been linked with have got their specific system, their specific philosophy, their way of playing that they're probably going to use. But the difference with Conte is that the rest of them will stick to that at all costs, whereas Conte can adapt for a big game. And to actually start winning titles, to beat Guardiola, Tuchel, Klopp over a season, you've got to have that philosophy so you can beat all the smaller teams and pick up enough points in those games. But you've also got to be able to adapt because you know those other coaches will adapt for big games. So that's, for me, I think that's what Conte's got that none of the rest really have. I mean, maybe Graham Potter, I think he probably can adapt fairly well, but I just think Conte is so much more proven at that.
Can I just put in a word quickly for my actual preferred manager who hasn't actually been mentioned yet? I'd say Pochettino. Can we not talk about Pochettino?
No, go for it.
Yeah, I just think that we were talking earlier about Ten Hag and Potter perhaps lacking the ability to manage egos. Yeah. Pochettino has more experience of that, definitely now with PSG. He's managing, probably the only man in football who can come even close to Ronaldo's name recognition. Not necessarily, in fairness, not necessarily doing a great job of it, but it's a learning experience that he will be.
I honestly just think that PSG job is impossible.
I agree, and I also don't think he's doing as bad a job as people are making out. I mean, he's, you expect them to be top of the league, but he's 8 points clear at the top after 12 games. Yeah. Last season, he's unfairly scathed for being the guy that cost them the title when he had a higher points per game than Tuchel did. When he took, and if they'd maintained that level of points per game throughout the season, PSG would have won the title. And another thing I see bizarrely said is that Poch hasn't won anything with PSG. He's had half a season. By the end of this season, the way they're playing in the league, you would be surprised if they didn't win it. And again, not that that's.
You'd be surprised if PSG don't win the league any year, though. To be fair,
yeah.
It's not like
fairness, but my point is that he probably
they could probably play without a manager and still win.
He's doing pretty well in the Champions League. They're currently top of a group that contains Manchester City.
Wow, no! What, a team with Mbappe, Neymar, Di Maria?
Well, no, yeah, but
Messi,
my point is that's the
group.
point. There's no way to say that. There's how can you? What could he do that is good at that team?
Yeah, exactly. If that's what it's impossible job.
Unless he wins every match playing incredible football, which just isn't feasible. I'm sorry, no matter which team you have, And there are massive problems with that PSG team. No matter
because they all
players
know
they
they're
have.
too good for that league.
They've got 2 players who are non-entities in the press. Messi and Neymar are both just
Mbappe's getting lazy as well now.
characteristically low volume pressers. And
Yeah.
you can't. And every time he subs out Messi, no matter whether it's the right decision or not, he gets criticised for it. They won after subbing out Messi, and he still got criticised for it. That's my point. And I think, was it Cam or Deck that said the PSG job is just impossible?
Yeah, no, it is
I
impossible.
pretty much just agree. Unless it's Zidane, I think Zidane is tailor-made for it.
Yeah,
That's not for us for PSG, because that's just his shtick. Finding a system that works for the players that he's got and managing egos. I think he's tailor-made for PSG.
I think Pochettino's style of play is tailor-made for the Premier League. I think his football works best. To be fair, it does work well in Europe, as you saw with Tottenham, and you saw with as you see with PSG. But I just think the way he plays football suits the Premier League, and I don't think actually there's really anyone in the league currently that plays football like Poch's Spurs did currently. You've just got a lot of Tommy Tuchel copies really at the minute, and Pep and Klopp's formations. That's it. There's even David Moyes. I mean, he's not tonight as we're speaking. There's a game going on, but he's been playing the Tuchel formation as well most of the season. That would be nice to come back and see Poch. I wouldn't be against Poch. My problem with Poch though is that he is a big name that hasn't done anything really.
yeah.
I don't agree. I think it's really harsh to say he's not done anything.
No, but even the season that he took Spurs to Champions League final, they did so badly in the league. They were like what, 8th or something.
But they're Spurs.
What I'm saying is, my point is, he's a bigger name than Ten Hag. He is,
Yeah.
but Ten Hag and done better with a worse squad.
Are we talking about done better with Spurs? Done better than Poch has done with Spurs or PSG?
Well, technically both, really, but he's more so Spurs.
But the point of contention I'd make with that is that Poch turned that Spurs team into the squad they were. It wasn't like he came into Spurs, had that squad, and then just
What did they win?
They were. They didn't win anything, but no one expected them to. No one has expected Spurs to win anything.
Let's be honest.
About Poch bottling it again. Champions League final against Liverpool. That's not bottling. It's not bottling the Champions League to lose to Liverpool with that Spurs team.
I didn't say the Champions League. They bottled the league, which they did.
The league is fair. The league is fair. They should.
The league is very fair.
Leicester that season.
Four teams were all in transition, apart from Spurs. All the big ones. You had Arsenal.
It was the perfect moment.
And you got beat to Leicester. Do you know what I mean?
That was a freak. I mean, that was a freak season from Leicester as well. It's not like they played badly.
But something should have been done.
I still think that the fact that where Spurs were before Poch and where Spurs have been after Poch is a testament to how well he did there and how good a coach he is.
My point isn't
he made Harry Kane.
My point is almost that I feel sorry for Poch if he came in because we'd expect him to win things because he's such a big name.
I think he could win things.
He's effectively Ole Gunnar Solskjaer if he got United going. That is what it is. That is what he is. If
Ole's not going to get United going.
Yeah, but that's the point though. Like because Poch has a similar way of playing, similar philosophy, similar formation, all that sort of stuff. We can say at least then it looks like there's some sort of plan from the board and the owners. But it's obvious they've got no idea. The only reason they didn't sack Ole last week is because they were like, "What do we do now? Who else are we getting?"
I think Poch has a similar philosophy to what Ole wants to achieve.
Yeah, but he's better at implementing it.
He just knows how to actually achieve it. That's my point.
There's no question whatsoever. My point is that right now, do you expect Ole to succeed?
No.
Expect Ole to succeed. If Poch came in, we'd expect him to succeed.
Yes.
The thing is, I don't think. Yeah, as much as Poch, obviously he'll use the same squad as Ole, which is great. I don't think he's ever going to topple Guardiola, Klopp, or Tuchel because he's just not adaptable enough.
Who do you hire that could?
Enough. I think he's a level below them in terms of.
Who do you hire that isn't? Then the only option is Conte. Realistically.
Yeah,
Ten Hag hasn't proven that he's a level above that, or even in league with them. Potter could be.
Yeah, Pochettino, look, he would guarantee, I think, pretty much guarantee that whilst he's with us, we never finish below third because we'll pick up enough points in the smaller games. But I just don't see us winning enough of those big six clashes to win the league under him.
I'm not against Poch coming. I know I've said that from the start. I was just
He's an improvement, but I don't think he's going to take us right up to a title.
I think he'd get eaten alive by United fans. I really do, because we'd expect him to win if he came. He's a game manager. What I'm not sure that this Pep and Klopp thing is as big as what people are saying. Like they don't look unbeatable to me. They just don't. It's not like that. There's anyone there.
As City proved yesterday. I
just think the person that it's waiting there for. I think that's why Conte wants this job so much. To be honest, like Fabrizio Romano to win now, because I think he can see that they're vulnerable. Klopp, all you've got to do really with Klopp is play a five at the back, soak up the pressure, hit them on the counter. You look what Atletico Madrid nearly did to them. They went 2-0 in 10 minutes. Simeone changed the shape. They scored 2 goals in 10 minutes, and didn't they have one disallowed in the second half? And they got a man.
The crucial bit there though is you don't try and play out the back against the best pressing team in the world when your centre backs have been making horrible errors all season.
And you don't have a defensive midfielder capable of, transitioning from the back.
And you don't have a goalkeeper capable of picking out a pass over the.
Yeah, that's the point as well. De Gea, as great as he's been shot-stopping wise, not really getting talked about much.
As well is always on the brink of a mental breakdown. If I was a City fan, I'd be fuming with that man. The way he talks, I don't think I will be here much longer. No.
I love that. Always on the brink of a mental breakdown.
But he is. I always look at his teams and I think, after Barcelona, in the big games, he's always either overthought it or never give it any respect. He played like 7. What did he play? Like 7 up front or 7 at the back against Lyon and got beat.
Yeah,
he did. He played without a CDM against Chelsea.
That was so stupid. That was just strange.
That was madness. Even at the start of the game.
I don't think I really don't. But I also think that Klopp's Liverpool haven't got the squad to do it for a full season. I don't think Tuchel's his defence is sustainable. His midfield, I don't think his midfield's that functional anymore because he hasn't got a strike force either. Really, half of his midfield's been playing up front, like he likes of Havertz and Mount. I think, to be honest, that it's there. It was there for the taking. I don't think it is anymore.
I'm going to say that's the annoying thing. I feel like if you had Conte as manager at the start of the season, there is a genuine chance we could have won this title.
I think if we got him in now, I think we could still win it.
Possibly. I think he's the only one who could. He's the only one who could.
I think something people overlook massively is that when you get a new manager in, it takes about, I'd say, maybe up to 20 games for other teams to actually work out how you're trying to play. Because it takes a good maybe 5-10 games for your team to work out what you want to do and actually start executing it. But from an analysis point of view, before this, it takes so long before there's actually enough footage. So
I'd say
it's impossible for the.
The thing with Conte, I know for a fact if you bring him in, he wins a title for United. I know he does. It is not. It is the most definitely thing happening there is.
Yeah. So cheers to Liam for the super chat. That is love the channel, great chat. Cheers, Liam.
Excellent.
Super chat.
Oh wow.
Sorry?
That's got to be a first on these streams.
That is a first. That's the first super chat on the channel.
Thank you very much.
Excellent stuff, Liam. Yeah, thank you very much, man.
Fantastic stuff. Yeah.
I think for me, if you want to get Conte in straight away, he wins you the title. 100% he wins you the title. But do you want to do it the Mourinho way or the Ole way? Which is, and I don't mean...
The thing is, that's the thing.
I don't think there is an Ole way. I don't think there is an Ole way to win the title because I don't think he is going to win the title.
Well, the Ole way to win it is get Pochettino in and hope every other team has a mess up of a season and we just somehow get over the line.
Possibly, or get Pochettino or Potter or Ten Hag and accept that for another few years we won't win the title. But
I think Ten
Hag might build us towards that.
I do think Ten Hag...
Look, you know what? You've said, Dak, that you think Pep's the greatest coach ever. Fair enough.
He's not a great manager. He's not the greatest manager.
Greatest coach ever, whatever, fine, fair enough. He took a year to get City playing the right way. They made so many mistakes trying to play out the back that first year. If that was at United, he would have been gone. There is no way the fans would have tolerated
He got them
that.
in the Champions League. He got City in the Champions League places that first season. I think he'd been fine.
No, the fans would have eaten him alive for the number of mistakes we were making.
I really don't agree. I think Ole's had us playing worse football in his first few seasons. He's been fine.
Yeah, but Ole's a club legend, and it's also a different stage.
Jose Mourinho had us playing worse football in his first season.
Yeah, but it's a different stage.
Louis van Gaal had us playing worse football.
I honestly think just the number of times we're making the same mistake. City made the same mistake over and over, playing out from the back and lost the ball in a stupid place, conceded. I think if that happened at United, there's no way fans would tolerate it.
I think he'd be fine. I think
fans would have been screaming at him to change.
I don't agree. I think he'd be fine. I think Pep Guardiola would be fine if he'd done
with the Van Gaal era. He did the big Sam thing, didn't he? Of making sure we don't concede goals.
That's another parallel I love. Van Gaal and Big Sam.
When was he going to add the attacking? Because he's took over at the Netherlands and they're scoring like 8 goals a game now.
Yeah.
We have the players to score goals. It upsets me because he had a lot of things right at the club.
No, I agree.
Okay, trying to teach Wayne Rooney how to score goals isn't probably the best thing.
Yeah,
but not understanding Martial, and Martial just going out and scoring 17 goals a season. He wasn't given any instructions because he didn't speak English.
Yeah,
players, they are honey.
That was class. Why can't Ole just go back to the 4-3-3 he started off with? Well, the 4-3-3, that midfield was Matic, Pogba, Herrera. Problem is now you can't leave Bruno out of the team.
You don't have Herrera. You don't have a Herrera.
Herrera's the most important player in that. Well, actually, he's not. He was there, but now Matic would be.
Yeah, but the whole point is, 1, Matic can't run enough to play that many games. 2, you can't leave Bruno out of the team. And 3, we never realised. I think some of us realised, but I think the majority of fans did not realise how good Herrera was. Because not only was he insane work rate wise defensively, but on the ball he was so good, so good.
I don't think I didn't. I don't think I knew you guys then when Herrera left. I don't think I did.
No.
I borderline. I actually, he was one of my favourite United players.
Oh yeah.
Borderline nearly started crying when he left because he didn't want to go. He still loved the club. He just was asking for a little. He was being a bit of an arse by asking for so much money.
Yeah.
But he was unreal. He'd do a job. He was silky on the ball. I mean, if you look at PSG, he's actually one of their best players even now. He's one of their top goal scorers this season as well.
Oh yeah.
Can I give you guys an idea? I think you could make a 3 in midfield work just about with Matic, Fred, and Pogba. But
no, I think what will work best.
Sacrifice Bruno.
I think the best 3 midfield that we could make to dominate games and actually control them will be Matic, Van der Beek, and Pogba.
I don't know if that's got enough steel.
I think work rate-wise it's fine because Matic positions himself fine. Pogba and Van der Beek between them, there is enough work rate in there that they can cover spaces. But the important bit, the crucial bit, is that it's much more predictable. We're not going to lose the ball from randomness when the team's so open. They're going to keep the ball a hell of a lot better, so have far fewer transitions to defend anyway.
I don't think that. Sorry. I don't think having Van der Beek sit so deep utilises what's best about him.
He wouldn't be deep. He'll be Matic deeper with Van der Beek and Pogba in front.
But then if you do get a transition, I feel like you're pretty much buggered because you've got Matic on his own.
No, because Wan-Bissaka and Shaw will tuck in.
We've seen that doesn't work this season. I don't think it would work. I don't think it would work. So I feel like you need a Fred, who I know you guys don't like Fred. I know you don't like him, but he's a ball winner. He wins the ball. He presses effectively.
He doesn't. You say he presses effectively. He runs around like a headless chicken and sometimes comes out with the ball, sometimes
he presses
not.
More effectively than his teammate. Which, just to be fair, isn't hard.
I think Fred presses effectively, but he doesn't tackle effectively.
He's not strong.
He goes when he doesn't need to go, and he gets caught out. So
my point is, he holds up opposition teams by having the energy. I mean, he also, let's remember, he plays really well for Brazil in the sort of role that I
Played well last
anticipated
night.
playing it.
I'm not going to lie.
Yeah,
He did.
he did play well last night, and so did McTominay. I'll give McTominay,
Yeah.
in fairness, I agree with Solskjaer, was a candidate for being our best player
Yeah.
last night.
My problem is that, well, that's because they've not got the defensivist as much defensive duties to carry out. Because A,
Yeah.
with and B, we've got 3 centre backs on the pitch.
Yeah,
So
you have 2 central players
so
who can step into
that formation will give you the best of McFred, because
Yeah.
it gets of their problems, which is defending. It allows Fred the freedom to go and run around, and it allows McTominay the freedom to ball carry and leave his position and be an 8 and be box to box. It allows them that luxury. But,
If we try and play that way against a team that's going to sit back, a Burnley, we are in trouble.
Well, for a goal, it'll be 0-0. It'll be Van Gaal football.
I
Yeah.
mean, I'm interested to see how it works against City as well, because the other problem was that
The thing is, against
I'm
City,
not
City are
confident
good enough to cut us apart.
That's my point. We didn't have, there was nothing to deal with with Spurs' attack. Nothing.
Yeah.
I quite literally was watching them thinking, how are they trying to score here?
Yeah, they
I couldn't
weren't.
figure it out.
The crazy thing is they still end up with more XG than United at full time.
Is that right? I swear that must have been from the Son. I'm pretty sure that was all from like 1 or 2 chances.
Yeah,
The corner was a big one.
Yeah.
The corner was a huge one.
Yeah.
I think we'll be.
Go on, Beck.
Sorry, yeah. I think you'll beat. Why do you think we'll beat City?
Before I say, I think we'll smash Atalanta. I think we'll beat them by at least 2 or 3 goals. And I think we'll beat City 2.
Okay, another Fred hater.
I just think if we'll go into City with that same 5-back probably. We'll probably do that against Atalanta as well. And the problem is against City, 1, they'll cut you apart, but 2, the main issue is that 5 will all be sitting so deep there will be no outlet on the wings. So many times against Spurs, McTominay picked up that ball, just pinged it out to Shaw, out to Wan-Bissaka from Fred or whatever. And that helped us. That takes all the pressure off. All of a sudden, you've got a few seconds to get up the pitch. Against City, their wingers are going to pin those wing backs back and we'll have no outball at all.
So, I mean, against City, once I do remember us playing sort of like that against City and it working really effectively. But against City, that time we had Dan James, and now we've got Ronaldo. And they're Ronaldo is a lot better than Dan James, but he's not as good at what Dan James was brilliant at was, again, an outball. He offered an outball in the sense that you had someone that you could pass the ball to. He might beat a few players, and once he has beaten a few players, you force other players back because they have to track his run, because otherwise, once he's got open space, you're not catching him. Whereas with Ronaldo, he's fast, but you're not going to get that out of him.
Oh yeah, no, but I think for City, it'll be Rashford in for Cavani. It'll be Rashford and Ronaldo up front, definitely.
But then you don't have the guy that can press City's backline, and that's quite important as well.
Rashford will be given a kick up the arse to do it.
He will, but he's not as good as Cavani at it.
Obviously, he's not as good, but he will get a kick to make sure he does it.
Yeah, I mean, I still think it's a problem. Sorry, Deck?
You say Rashford's going to start?
Yeah, I think in that front two, it'll be Rashford and Ronaldo against City.
I don't think Cavani should lose his place, mate. He did look a little low on them. But for me, I just think that I need to see Martial in that team again now they're playing split. I really do. I think back to the way.
I'd happily see Martial leave, honestly.
I think you too. That guy, I think he's an unbelievable footballer.
Right, my problem with Martial, I've said this on a few of the different fan camps and stuff this season. My problem with him is we've told him, right, you're going to play as a number 9, go and bulk up. Now Ole's put him on the wing once or twice, and you can see he's bulked up. He's lost that explosive yard of pace that he had, which made him so effective getting past players 1v1. He's not as good 1v1 as he was. He's slower than he was, and I just don't think he's anywhere near as effective. His game's just changed too much. It's almost changed beyond recognition.
In the split striker.
I could actually see him working in a two up front system, at least far better than he does when he's played on his own. The problem I have with Martial is you've got Sancho and Rashford now and Greenwood. Why bother trying to develop Martial would be my point.
Yeah, exactly. I think he's had enough chances now. He's gone. And as Liam says, if he's off to Newcastle, if they want to pay 40, 50 million for him, fleece them. Let them
I think he could
What's his
work.
name?
I actually agree with you, Deck, that he could work in a different for the weird kind of thing Spurs seem to be trying to do, which is two up front, Son and Kane. I could see Martial sort of being okay in a team like that. I just don't think
he
see
can be
why
okay.
you'd bother with him now. We've got so many other options.
Yeah, exactly. So KL says, will Ten Hag succeed without Ajax youngsters? Can our players play his style? Some of our players can play his style. There are a lot of players in there that can't. I think the players, I would say if I was picking a starting 11 for Ten Hag, out of the players we've got at the moment, 4-3-3, Henderson in net, definitely. Right back, probably. Right back's tough because Wan-Bissaka's not getting anywhere near that.
Incredibly tough.
Who would you put at right back? Probably Ethan Laird, to be honest. Or
Yeah,
maybe,
we need Deck for that one, but he's gone.
I am back.
Well, I reckon we can call the lone players back, but it would have to be probably Laird because Dallow's not really good enough.
Deck is definitely the resident Ethan Laird expert, though. So
yeah, we can get Deck on that in a minute when he's back. But yeah, Laird, I reckon it'll be Laird on the right, Lindelof and Varane, or possibly Maguire. I can see it. He's good enough on the ball when he's on form. Left back, probably Luke Shaw, just for the defensive solidity, and when he's on form as well, he's decent enough. Midfield would be Matic, Pogba, Van de Beek, 100%. There's no room for Bruno in that team. Then the front three of probably Sancho, Rashford, Ronaldo.
I heard my name. What's up?
We mentioned Ethan Laird, and
so we're talking. So if Ten Hag comes in, we're going for a 4-3-3. At right back, Wan-Bissaka's nowhere near that team.
Go.
Dallow's not good enough. So I think Ethan Laird or Trippier is probably the only options we'd have.
Starting in the Championship, the most competitive league in the world, getting assists and goals. Come on, he got an assist yesterday in the second minute.
Have a look at Ethan Laird's statistics this season. I want to know how many assists he's got.
No, he's doing well. He's doing really, really well. He's a top player.
Yeah. I haven't actually seen enough of him to know much about him, but I've heard good things from Swansea fans.
Do you know many Swansea fans?
Not many, but this is from people online. This isn't people in person. I don't have enough friends to know that many Swansea fans. This is people online.
That's brought the mood down.
There we go. But I mean, to be fair, how many people do have enough friends to be friends with loads of Swansea fans?
Yeah, exactly.
Unless you're from Wales or
Swansea. He's got 4 assists and 3 goals this season. It's not bad.
Damn,
it's not bad from right back. I suppose he's wing back, isn't he? But still.
The only thing I would say is that from what I gather, he plays more of a right mid than anything else, which would be fine, and I guess would be fine in Ten Hag's system.
Yeah,
and would be fine in any manager who was looking to play a back three system as well.
Conte's system. I think Conte would be our Victor Moses.
Graham Potter as well.
Yeah,
it would, because Graham Potter's more than happy to play back three. Tariq Lamptey.
Yeah. Thing is with Laird is that he's better at defending than Wan-Bissaka is going forward. Like, not even close. And he's far better going forward. Like, and he's only 20. He's only 20. He's only just turned 20.
Yeah.
Honestly, he's a 5-star player.
I just think him and Sancho working together would be such a good partnership. Everything we wanted from Sancho and Wan-Bissaka is what we get from that.
Yeah. And then I think Jimmy Garner needs to be given a chance next season as well.
The thing is, I don't know, because I think Jimmy Garner, he looks good, and there are flashes I've seen that tell me he could probably be a decent player for United first team. But at the same time, he's not exactly lighting it up in the Championship at the moment. I know young players will be inconsistent, but he does need to be doing better than he's doing.
But he's also a defensive midfielder, Cam. Like, what do you want him to do? Score 50 goals?
That is true. That is a fair point.
To be fair, I also don't see how it can be that much worse than... Again, I'd happily give him chances because I just don't feel like
he's better on the ball than Fred and McTominay by a mile.
I mean, I haven't. The thing is, again, I contest that. I contest that because he's not played at a level that Fred and McTominay are currently playing at. So it's
you don't need to play at a level to be good on the ball.
I disagree entirely. I mean, Eberechi Eze is a fantastic player. I don't want to skirt around that.
Where's that come from?
No, my point is that from his Championship form, some people might say, "Oh, Eberechi Eze is better on the ball than certain Premier League wingers."
He's been amazing when he's played for. Yeah, he's been amazing.
No, he's a fantastic player, but he's, you might have said he's better on the ball than, I don't know, say Rafinha I don't know. Probably that weren't that many people saying that.
I
Probably
have
is.
no
Not a
idea
very
where
good
any of this has
example.
come from.
Okay, no, the basic point I'm trying to make here, badly, is that he's not played at a high enough level to definitively say he's better on the ball than Fred and McTominay.
The Championship for me is a better league than like going to the Ligue 1 or going to even Syria in terms of the Premier League.
No, because the quality.
Serie A, no.
It's miles better than walking football that they play. Miles better.
But the quality of players opposition players isn't as good.
Bellingham so highly rated from Birmingham because he could play at 15, 16.
I mean, this is Jude Bellingham.
In a centre midfield in one of the highest competitive leagues, physical leagues in the world in the Championship.
I mean, if you had a 16-year-old playing that regularly in Serie A, they'd probably be talked about as one of the biggest prospects.
I can guarantee
He
you.
did. Sandro Tonali was like, what, 17 when he first started?
I can absolutely guarantee you.
I don't know how old he
Gomez started week in, week out in the Championship. 100%.
Who?
Angel Gomez, when he played for us when he was 16, then he would have started for any Championship side you wanted. Week in, week out. 100%.
He would have got kicked, injured in that first game, and been out for the season.
What do you mean you've been out for the season?
He's about 5'5" and about what, 20 kilograms.
Hey,
like
Ilias Chair is 5'2", and Ilias Chair is 5'2", and he's doing okay.
Yeah.
yeah.
But my point is that
Harvey
you
Elliott
don't
was like 5'5". It's like Isaac.
Yeah. I was waiting for that one.
Thanks again to Liam for another super chat. Who thinks Ole will be sacked in the international break? I hope so, but again, there's reports coming out today that the board are just desperate to make the end of the season because they've got no idea who to appoint.
I think it really depends on how the City game goes, though. I don't see it. I don't see him lasting. If the City game.
I honestly think if
really
we don't
badly.
if we don't get battered against City, Ole stays to the end of the season.
But again, I think it's easy to say that now. Once what if it collapses again? It's just too many variables. I feel like things can change to the point where even an interim might be seen as preferable to keeping Solskjaer. The problem with the interim,
honestly, after Liverpool, I thought an interim was better. I thought genuinely from the reports that were coming out, and you don't normally see these reports until a manager's been sacked. And there were reports coming out from everywhere that this player and that player and that player, and basically half the dressing room at least, weren't behind Ole. Didn't think he was the man to turn it around. Didn't think he could do anything better. And so if those sorts of reports come out, you've got to think the manager's got to go. And then you're thinking about the board, like, why have they not sacked him if he's that bad?
The issue with the interim, I think Deck brought this up, is that who the hell do we put in place? Who have we got?
Unless you go and get Goose Hiddink out of his care home or whatever. Like,
get Sir Alex back in the dugout. I don't know.
Yeah.
Who do we have?
But the thing is, at least with an interim, you know that the players are going to play to impress the next manager.
The condition with an interim would be that our board is not stupid enough to do what they did with Ole, which is give him a contract before the end of the season is up, preferably not at all. But I mean, that was in retrospect one of we probably all supported it at the time.
Yeah,
giving him the contract after the PSG game was one of the most stupid decisions we've made. And I'm not necessarily saying that because he didn't deserve anything. It's not a question of deserve, but it's a question of It's a question of, do you need to do this? Who else was going to come in for Solskjaer and take him off our hands? There was no reason not to wait until the end of the season before making that hire.
Yeah, exactly.
And if we had waited until the end of the season, we probably wouldn't have done it. Honestly, I think that it kind of fell apart a bit after PSG.
Yeah, Ikenna Rocky Okafor says, "I rate Graham Potter a lot. What Brighton did to Liverpool in that second half was a tactical masterclass." Unai Emery.
I actually think he's a good coach as well, by the way. I really do.
Emery?
If Emery came in as an interim, I wouldn't be against it.
I like Emery.
I like Emery.
I think he was unfairly treated at Arsenal.
I'm sorry, though. Like, after what's happened at Arsenal, we can't appoint him for hello, good evening, every single press conference. That would start to get to me.
I feel like it's unfair that he was mocked for the fact that he can't. His accent was, he was mocked just essentially because he's got a Spanish accent. I mean, newsflash, guys, he's from Spain.
Yeah, but
he speaks better English than some English people do.
Than Harry Kane.
Yeah, but if you're going to pick things that irritate you after a defeat, number one, Ole smiling and waving and laughing and clapping and all that sort of stuff, that's terrible. Number two, Fred, when you're already in a bad position, taking a shot that goes 10 yards over, Ole going, Like he's some sort of like
the thumbs up.
yeah, like it's just some sort of trial that's got some sort of issues and he needs to be on the pitch or whatever. And then number 3, what will be worse than both of those is Unai Emery. We've just been imagine we've lost 5-0 to Liverpool. Emery comes in the press conference. Hello, good evening. There is nothing worse than that.
I don't think we'd lose 4-0 to Liverpool, though, is my point. Under Emery, I think he'd
because he probably parked the bus like he did in the Europa League final, but
he'd have us playing better than Solskjaer does. I wouldn't want him as a permanent hire. Don't get me wrong.
No.
He's not. He wouldn't be the guy that I choose.
Football and good football, and I think we've got miles better players than he had at Arsenal. Miles better players than he's got at Villarreal. And if you look what he did as well, Gerard Moreno was pretty much a nobody. Plays for Emery at Villarreal. He scored like 40 goals last season.
Yeah.
To be fair, if you want to talk interesting managers from the La Liga, Lopetegui, outside shout. He's done a great job at Sevilla.
No.
He wouldn't. Again, he's not someone I'd choose. A name I would put in the mix from Syria is Pioli, but I don't think he'd take it.
You know who I'd like? I would like to see Gasperini just giving a go. Just if the board just told him whatever money you want, just have a go. See, I don't particularly want him as United manager, but I just want to see what happens. It would be
absolutely insane. Yeah,
that would be so good.
Liverpool would have been like 10-5 rather than 5-0. I mean, it would have been a lot more interesting, but
yeah.
But I feel like if we're going to go for a name from Syria, I want it to be Pioli, but I don't think he'd take it. Because the other thing about Pioli is I look at AC Milan, the AC Milan team right now. There are quite a few similarities to. There are a surprising number of similarities to the team we have at the moment.
I'd get Mourinho back. What about that?
Who?
Mourinho back.
Oh God, no! Please no. No, that would be about the worst thing I can think of.
Cheers, man.
Oh, Leo's done another.
Would me and Isaac not make good coaches?
No, I wouldn't make.
No,
I
don't think so.
I wouldn't get the respect.
I'd be a great coach.
I'd be a crap coach.
I don't know. I reckon
I'm not very good at football. I don't know good football. I don't know how to. I don't know how to get players playing good football.
Dak, I reckon I can see you being a bit of a Steve Bruce.
Why? Cam, give me more credit for this. I'm unbelievable.
I'm not gonna lie though, guys. I mean, I'm not. I kind of got egg on my face now, but the first half of last season, when everyone was saying Harry Maguire was crap, I was the one guy. I was the guy pushing the agenda on this channel, and I'm confident. I'm confident that I'm going to get that with Fred as well.
Now I'm you. Like, I don't believe I think he's getting unfair stick because everyone that's been to the Euros is playing shite.
He's not getting unfair stick. He's getting stick based on his performances, which have been terrible.
He's getting stick based on his performances that are terrible, and I agree that but at the same time, his performances have been terrible in no small part because our system just leaves players horrendously exposed.
I know our system leaves players exposed, but the number of times he's had a simple pass.
You see Cam's reaction then.
Anger. I've never seen such sheer anger.
I don't know how he's not been dropped. Like the number of times he
dropped,
he should be
dropped. But I mean, I said this before. I am hesitant to judge any of our players too harshly right now until they've played under a proper manager. And again, credit to Ole for what he's done, but right now they're playing in a system up until yesterday, where, to be fair, a lot of the players that have previously looked crap actually looked quite good.
It's time
not
to
played in a
go.
proper system.
What do you think he has to go, Cam?
Solskjaer. I imagine that he does. Yeah, I think. Unpopular opinion.
Sorry, my connection lagged out a little bit. What if we draw the next two? Oh, he's the luckiest manager I've ever known, man. Yeah, he is.
I don't care if we win the next two. I don't care if we win the next two.
Draw the next two? No way would he go. But we're not going to. It's about 2 or 3. And
I'm not sure. I feel like if we lose to City and lose to Atalanta, and I'm less confident about our Atalanta than you guys.
There's no way we lose to them at their home.
It depends on how we play.
They've got the worst home record in the Champions League. We're meant to be away from home. We should have beat. We should have smoked them. If we play that
way to look at it though.
They are like an Italian Spurs, basically, but play better football, to be honest.
Oh, they're nothing like Spurs. I'm sorry, they are
Soak
nothing
up
like
if we
Spurs.
soak them up like we did Spurs yesterday, we will demolish them on the counter.
Atalanta will not stand still in our final third like Spurs did. It will not just be here's Harry Kane and Son doing
Yeah, that's
nothing.
true.
Atalanta will move players around.
Who have they got to score? Ilicic is the only player I'd go. He's good.
They don't have a great. They've got. I mean, they don't have a great like striker as such, but they've got players that will move our players, and that's much more important than having a Harry Kane.
So much credit, Cam. Isaac, they're awful.
They might win. We might win. I'm just not as confident as you guys that we will, because I mean, I think that probably funnily enough, the way that we were playing before is tailor made to play against Atalanta, but we're not going to do that.
If we don't win by 2 goals at least, he should be gone.
I should be gone anyway. I'm sorry. I think he's had his chance. I don't agree with this 3 more games rubbish.
Well, no, but
I agree.
If I could choose, I wouldn't. Obviously, I put Potter in charge of United, but I can't choose. But the likelihood is he's here for 3 games.
Yeah, he definitely is. Unless we lose badly to Atalanta, he's here for until City.
He's here for a long time.
You think you really think so? You really think that there's nothing that could happen against Atalanta and City that would get him sacked?
I think unless we get an absolute hiding off City, I don't see it.
I find it weird that the mood has changed so much after Spurs from you two.
Well,
I don't think that Spurs game is that. Like, it's not important. He needed to win.
Don't get me wrong. That's not what I think. That's just the noises coming out of the club today.
Well, that's Ornstein.
They have no plan.
I feel like it's just I feel like things could get bad if we lose badly to City, because then people will look at us and say we've lost badly to Liverpool and City, our 2 main rivals. This is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Stylistically, we've always done well in big games. Maybe not
always.
Like finals or I mean, like games that you'd imagine, not league games, especially big games. He beat Tuchel, Klopp, and Pep last year. But
did we beat Liverpool?
Stylistically, these 2 games are made for us. I really do think they are. I think they're almost like last time they were like a lead side when man football, don't they, Atalanta? But we had no midfield and they scored 2 goals. They will not score a goal this time, and if they do, we'll score 3 or 4. I really do think for us to batter them. And then Duvan Zapata, honestly, I think I'm better than Duvan Zapata. He shite. Don't be giving me Duvan Zapata, I'll tell you.
I'll tell you what, he is huge though. I was watching, on those
he's a good player.
you get those streams through like betting apps or whatever. I was watching Atlanta on one of those for a bit, and Zapata is massive.
He's a big guy, yeah. I'm just not as confident as you guys that we'll definitely shut them out. Atalanta are a good attacking side.
Look, if we play with
8
pure defensive players like we did against Spurs yesterday, and we concede, every single one of that squad should be sacked.
But the problem is that they weren't getting moved around. The players weren't getting moved around against Spurs. It was literally just like, we'll pass it out to Reguilon and hope that he can cross the ball into Kane. That's like probably the worst thing that you can do against a back three.
But like for me, I think that I just think that, like you say, 8 players that are defensive. I think McTominay and even Fred yesterday were causing problems for Tottenham going forward. Mainly McTominay, especially when he was ball.
McTominay's quite good going forward.
And I think
against him. He is a good player going forward.
As bad, and I mean this.
Bad deep lying midfielder.
Bad as Spurs' defence is, I don't think Atlanta's much better, and I think they're a bit worse, to be honest, defensively. So.
They'll
give our attack. They'll give our defense a lot more problems, is what I'm saying. I mean, Burnley park a lot of men behind the ball. I'm sorry, Sardak. I will change my tune. I should not be so harsh on Ole.
Yeah, Avicek says he thinks management is ego management and board relations and tactical nous. Ole has the first 2 down. He alienates ones who aren't important. The last one will only be a point if the first 2 are affected. Not quite sure what you mean by the last bit, but I agree with, like, those are the 3 of the pillars. You've got to be good at all of them. Like, you can't be a good manager without good bad management. And you obviously have to be able to manage the board because, I mean, that's the people that will sack you if you're not doing it well. But I think now to be a top manager, you've got to have more tactical awareness. But the thing is, it doesn't all have to fall on Ole. And the thing is, what Ferguson was so good at is that he hired coaches and people on his coaching team that were good at what he wasn't good at.
Yeah.
Ole's not done that.
Carlos Queiroz and the likes.
Renan Wildenstein.
Yeah.
Yeah. The problem is, though, I don't see that many Ferguson-type coaches anymore. I feel like nowadays, to be a top manager, you need a little bit of tactical nous.
I think now you buy as much as you appoint a manager
had tactical
for.
Now, sorry, I don't want to make it sound like Ferguson was just.
But as much as now you appoint a manager for their system, for their way of playing, their philosophy, it almost comes with the manager rather than just them adapting to whatever's at the club.
Yeah, don't see Arsene Wenger's or Sir Alex Ferguson's anymore.
No,
really.
No, you don't.
Diego Simeone's probably as far as
he's the closest
I can think of.
Yeah, but again, though, he has a very clear
very tactically astute manager. Very tactically astute.
Yeah.
Well, said, like he brought in coaches.
And so was Sir Alex, to be fair.
He brought in coaches to do the dirty work, didn't he?
Yeah.
Mike Phelan with the defensive coaches. Then he had Mullenstein, which is basically more of like, he was kind of like a midfield, like passing. He was basically like the build-up coach.
Yeah.
And then you had Fergie that would talk. He would kind of talk about the forward play, mainly because he was a striker himself and a good one. And the rest of it, he had a sports psychologist that he said, "How do I get us to number one in the world?" He said, "Train like you're the second best, always."
Fair enough, yeah. So Sarthak says the difference between Foden and Greenwood right now is huge, boys. Something is not spoken about enough, but Foden has improved so much and Mason is the same as he was when he came. You know what? I disagree, I think Mason's so good, but the problem is he's just, because of Ronaldo and Cavani, he's in trouble. But this new system, if we stick with it, could give him a lifeline. If he plays in that front two, he'll get so many goals. As a second striker playing off Ronaldo or Cavani, Greenwood's going to score.
I agree with the part that the difference between Foden and Greenwood right now is huge. I don't agree that Mason is the same when he was when he came. Although I'm more in agreement with Sarthak than I think you guys are.
Yeah, I don't think the difference is that big. I think they're both different players. Like Foden's a creative player, and he's a very good one. Greenwood's a striker, and a very good one. Greenwood's a striker that's playing out on the wing because there's two better strikers than him or two bigger names than him that are playing through the middle. When he was playing through the middle at the start of the season, it was 3 goals in 3. He was playing really, really well. Now that he's been shifted out to the right, you see things in Greenwood's game. Like he shoots first so often. He retains the ball rather than taking on his man out wide. He's not that creative from the wing because he has the mentality of a striker.
I mean, like I'm gonna say something that I feel like I'll get my that you'll jump down my throat for. He's also just not as intelligent a player as Foden is right now, and that possibly comes partly down to coaching. Foden is being coached by Guardiola, and
I think it's partly coaching, but also, to be fair, as a striker, you don't really have to be that intelligent of a player. Like he's obviously not a Karim Benzema, is he?
This way.
Sorry, Deck.
I think Foden couldn't do as good a job in Greenwood's role as a striker than I think Greenwood could do a better job in Foden's position than Foden could do in Greenwood's, is what I'm trying to say.
Probably I agree, but I'd put that mainly down to the fact that Foden just doesn't really have the physical.
And I think to be fair as well, like
brain-wise,
Greenwood would do a similar job to Foden, but his ball retention is just much better. So he wouldn't necessarily create much, but he would just keep the ball. He wouldn't lose it.
I don't like. I think if you put,
right,
I'd say just on our last point, I just don't think Greenwood has Foden's like brain right now as a football brain, and how much that comes down to coaching.
Right, yeah. Okay, so we'll just last couple of comments here, then we'll probably wrap it up fairly soon. But why Potter isn't going to work here is what I meant. He can be coach as a manager who's the face. Not sure how Stars will work with him. Exactly, yeah. Potter can be tactically amazing, but he can't come on. I think his man management's really good, but it's just, again, when it comes down to that sort of the face of it, the commercial value, I just don't see that he's got the level that Conte has. I think for a Man United board are going to struggle to appoint someone like Graham Potter until he's done a big job elsewhere, and even then I think it'll be tough. But yeah, I'm not too sure. Sardak says he likes his wingers tracking back, and Avishek says, guys, by the way, do you actually think that James Ronaldo's swap in a way has destroyed the direction of Ole's plan? James was the perfect right or left midfielder for him. Ronaldo won't press. Greenwood is stunted in growth. I think, has it destroyed Ole's plan? No, but I think it's made it harder because he can't play the way that he was working on. He can't play the way that he was like perfecting all of last season, and it was actually building towards something.
I don't think the problem was getting rid of James so much as buying Ronaldo. And I know that people hate Ronaldo being mentioned as a problem because, yes, he is amazing at goal scoring and he's still a very good player, but
yeah,
he forces you into playing him for starters because he's too big a name to drop, and he also forces you into playing a certain way or playing certain players around him that, to accommodate the fact that he doesn't press. I'm just going to say I'm not sure that signing Ronaldo was a particularly sensible decision.
No, but I think it had to be done just because of how close it was to going to City. It had to be done.
I don't agree. I don't think that's a good idea. I don't think you should be making decisions based on not letting the other guys sign players.
I think in most cases, yes, but in this one, there's no way. Cheers again, Liam. Thank you for the super chats and appreciate the comment on the show. Sarthak says, Premier League has never been won by an English manager. I don't want Potter anywhere nearby. Fair enough, I suppose.
Is Deck still here?
Yeah, I'm still here. It's just my camera's not working.
Oh, okay. Big up, boys. Great show. Thoroughly enjoyed. Well, cheers to all of you for watching. I've enjoyed it. Hopefully, Isaac and Dak, you have as well.
Absolutely.
It's been good, yeah. And we'll catch you again, hopefully, a little bit sooner, a little bit less of a gap between this and the next one than we've had between this and the last one. But yeah, cheers for watching again. Cheers for interacting. Comments have been fantastic. And see you all very soon.
Cheers, guys.